Hi. Yeah. So, hi everyone. I'm thankful to Rai for conducting this amazing event. It's been really good listening to all the eminent speakers here. So, I am Vinodh Ramakannan. I'm founder and CEO of a marketing agency called as Spinta Digital. We have our offices based in Chennai, Bangalore, UK, and the US. We are headquartered in the UK, and we are in Chennai now for about the last 7 years. So, basically, what we are going to talk about today is like how do you leverage your legacy in the digital world? Being a legacy brand, like today, D2C is the way to go, right? We work with some of the top national D2C brands in India, and the way they've scaled up in the last few years, it's like amazing journey that they've had. The kind of traction they have in the market, the kind of branding that they're doing, the kind of geographical boundaries that they're breaking is like really amazing. We also help a lot of them actually go global as well, where people have started creating warehouses and stuff and started, marketing in multiple locations. So this is not only just through their direct commerce channels or your website, it's also using their marketplaces like Amazon and Flipkart and things like that. So being a legacy brand, it gives you a really good advantage for you to, start this journey and see how you can scale up in terms of going direct to consumers. So just the thing is like it's very easy and scalable. Your scalability becomes much easier when you are going direct to consumer. There's no geographical boundaries. The kind of investments that you need to make are also kind of less. So typically, if you're going to open a new store, like if you want to create a new channel for you to kind of create sales, you're going to be opening a new store. So the kind of investment that goes into it, you need to, and the kind of effort that needs to go into it, right? In terms of finding the location, investing on the infrastructure cost, you need a lot of stock, not compared to D2C brand, you need way more stocks for, for that to be on display. You also kind of need to have way more expenses in terms of your operational costs, in terms of your staffing, in terms of your, amenities, admin charges, etc. Whereas in D2C, it's much more scalable and it's much more uh, greater opportunity today for you to kind of break the barriers and go pan-India, go global in the future, right? So that way, the kind of investments that you need to make is also much lesser, and it's also easy for you to experiment different markets. So when you are in D2C, like today, if you see, most of the D2C brands are going phygital, right? Phygital is the way to go these days. So they are trying to go D2C and then move on to the physical world, and they use a lot of data analytics based on where they get most customers from. So they basically decide where to put the next store based on the analytics that they get from their online stores. Where do they get most traction? Where do they get more customers, right? Today you have multiple analytical tools, and in the advantage of being digital is you can measure each and everything. So they kind of, even the point of where to open next comes from the analytics of how your consumer behavior is, right? So one thing what people are looking at today, like if you see traditional brands, especially like, you go to, there are people who are used to certain level of customer experience that they go through on on an offline store. So how do you replicate that on an online level? Today there are multiple levels of tools that are available, from your reward system, from your, customer experience, understanding your customer. So understanding your customer and personalizing that is very important. Say tomorrow you have a regular customer who's coming into your store. You probably know him by name, right? And you probably are going to greet him, hey, Vinod, how are you? It's been long that I saw you. And, what are you looking to buy? So these are the kind of connects, emotional connects that you've had over the years with people on your physical stores, or your people who are working on your physical stores have had with them. How do you replicate them online, right? So that's why it's important to use a lot of personalization strategies. Today, it's not about how to create multiple ad formats or create multiple performance marketing ads and trying to reach people. It's more about how do you make sure that you give that customer experience on the digital channels. How do you replicate what you give in offline to your online basis? So even like, say for example, another example could be like you upselling to them, right? So if you have a customer who you think can buy more, you kind of suggest him various things that you can upsell, or you place certain products on your retail store on the place where they go for a billing, right? So these are the kind of things that you need to replicate on your online experience as well. So how do you make sure that you have the right products for them to upsell? How do you make sure that your average order value is more, or your basically there are three metrics that are most important, right? One is your customer acquisition cost. How much am I spending to acquire each customer? How can I keep reducing my CAC in a way that my business becomes more profitable? The second part is your average order value. So how do you make sure that a person who comes onto your site buys more and more? How do you make sure that he actually spends more than what he actually wanted to, by giving him the right choices? The third part is the LTV, which is your lifetime value of a customer. So today, if you think about like, I started drinking Coke when I was like 25 years back, for example, right? So probably seeing an ad when Aishwarya Rai and Sachin came, but till now I've been drinking Coke. So that's like I've already spent lakhs on Coke. Whereas, so that is the importance of keeping that brand value up and creating that experience on the online world to make sure that the lifetime value of a customer keeps going high and high. So it's very important to have these three metrics in measured all the time to make sure that you are able to cater to your audience. So different things that you can do today, there are a lot of tools available. You have your user personalization tools, your rewards point, as I said before, your customer experience, like based on each customer that comes onto your website, you can actually personalize your website for that particular customer, so that level of customization is available. So today's customers are needing things that they don't have time to go through multiple things, right? So they want whatever they're searching for, they want to find it right now. They don't want to kind of go and browse and make it difficult for them to kind of find what they need. So it's very important for them to kind of understand, for you to understand that we need to give the customers what they want when they want it. And also in terms of the checkout process. So today, even today, if you see most of the brands, like say, for example, Boat has almost 84% sales on their marketplaces compared to their direct channels. If you see Sugar, like they have almost like probably around 40 to 45% on their online channels, and then their physical channels as well as marketplaces is where they make it more. These are mainly because the kind of experience that these marketplaces give, the comfort level it gives to the user, and the trust factor that it gives to the user is why it's going there. But again, when you're in marketplaces, what you lose is basically your customer data. So you will not know who the customer is, so you will not be able to kind of create those lifetime value with the customer, or how do you make him buy repeatedly, because that control completely goes to the marketplaces like Amazon or Nike or Flipkart or whoever, right? So it's important to have a right mix of how you go on your D2C channels, which is your website, and how you go onto your marketplaces when you're talking about going digital. Going digital, again, it's important to also understand that when you're going, for example, for a new market, so probably in a new market, it's better to go to a marketplace first and then try to explore it and then see which marketplace works better for you and then which product works better for you. So typically, if you are a brand based in Tamil Nadu, right, so what we have experienced in the past is when you're a brand based in Tamil Nadu, when you're trying to go D2C, we might have to do certain level of product differentiation as well, because today you might have catered to a brand, say for example, if you're from Coimbatore, for example, you might have catered to a geography which is just around you, and the kind of products that they like, the kind of price point that they have, the kind of positioning you have might have to kind of adopt for the digital channels, because today in digital channel you're going to go much more larger, right, in terms of you need to make sure that you have the scalability, you need to make sure that your products are adaptable. So you probably have to also start thinking about your product line in terms of how can I kind of upgrade my product line, or how can I differentiate my product line for a more pan-Indian market. So how do I kind of get more, say if you are into sari business, how can I get more saris that are more suitable for the North Indian market or a certain level of market. And one more thing, what I see is as we work with, as I said, we work with national brands, there are a lot of brands today that are focusing on how to come to the South and how to capture the market in the South. So they're looking for like a gateway to the South. But in terms of brands from South, except there are certain really good brands in the North, but I find very little people actually going into covering the entire pan-India kind of a marketplace, especially being a DTC marketplace. And being a family legacy brand, I think you have a great option in terms of trying to push the market, because you already have a brand, which, see, compared to a new DTC brand who are basically going to investors and starting to build from scratch, you already have a legacy. You already have something, a story, a great story to tell your people. Now it's about how do you tell this story to a much wider audience without being confined by a particular geography, and how do you kind of say that story in a much larger level, right? So it's important for us to kind of go that level to make sure that we are able to kind of capture the market in multiple places. Uh, so, so basically, this is what on a nutshell, what I would suggest is like if anybody is looking to kind of scale up their D2C or trying to go global or trying to go pan-India or just on the initial stages of transforming their physical business into a digital business. So these are the main things you need to take care of is like your website. Like, I know Gautam had said before, like, it's important to see how website is important, right? So we need to make sure that rather than going it very fast, you need to plan it well. You need to have a clear agenda in mind, have a clear 1-year plan, 2-year plan, 3-year plan. Make sure that what your digital channels are going to bring. And you also need to have a clear revenue targets in mind in terms of what percentage of my business is going to be digital in the next 1 year, what percentage in the next 3 years and next 5 years, so that we have a clear agenda in mind and we can go behind those KPIs to make sure that you are achieving those on the digital channels, because you have the biggest advantage of experimenting with much lower budgets when you go digital. Thank you very much. We just have a booth, so anybody wants to talk, I'll be available. Thank you so much.